Tonight on CTV News, we're covering the tragic loss of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
And then stick around, because we have information on recent COVID vaccine research at CSU and updates on the Cameron Peak fire. All that and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Sophia Ridley.
And I'm Kenneth Frederick. Welcome to the Thursday Night News Show. A lot has happened this week, so let's get right into it.
America suffered a tragic loss last week with the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ginsburg was sworn into the Supreme Court in 1993 by former President Bill Clinton. She served 27 years on the Supreme Court up until her death this last week. In those 27 years serving, she battled multiple cancers and worked through the death of her husband. Ginsburg was both a trailblazer and strong advocate among women's, LGBTQ, and minority rights.
I think whether you agree with her or not, politically speaking, she's going to go down in history for a long time.
Being a woman on the Supreme Court was really inspiring for me, and the work that she did with the ACLU for women's rights.
Some of Ginsburg's most notable Supreme Court rulings were Obergefell v. Hodges in 2015, in which same-sex marriage was legalized across all 50 states, which was a major victory for the LGBTQ community. In 1996, the United States filed a suit against the Virginia Military Institute, arguing their male-only admissions policy violated the 14th Amendment in the United States versus Virginia. The U.S. won, and Ginsburg made it clear that women's rights are constitutional rights. With 2020 being an election year, some people are concerned about Trump electing a third Supreme Court justice nominee of his presidency.
I believe it's constitutional, and in the systems that exist now, it is constitutional. However, I think the pattern leading up to it does not represent what the institutions of our government do stand for.
I think that Republicans right now are trying to rush this process to try to gain control of the courts.
Having both the Senate and presidency being Republican-ruled will make the process of electing a nominee faster and easier to approve. According to Gabby Reinhart, a journalism student at CSU, knowing what's going on in the Supreme Court is important with how significant the laws are that are being passed.
I think that's why it's important to know what the Supreme Court is always voting on, because now we have these giant laws in place that are so hard, they're so immovable because they got kicked to the Supreme Court. So I think it takes people knowing, their local and their state laws and how things are moving around legislatively, because they should be solved, if at all possible, legislatively before it gets kicked up to the Supreme Court, because they don't want to make a decision about it.
Although her Supreme Court seat will soon be filled, Ginsburg left a lasting legacy for Americans and will remain in history as a true patriot to her country.
Meanwhile, in Fort Collins, 2 Colorado State University sororities have outbreaks of coronavirus, according to data released by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. The outbreaks came from the Pelican Lakes Golf Club. The club is located in Windsor and has postponed all further events and closed many of its dining options for a time. The 2 sororities involved were Gamma Phi Beta and Chi Omega, contributing to 8 of the 16 confirmed cases. 5 of the cases came from Gamma Phi Beta, while 3 came from Chi Omega.
CSU is not the only community affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Governor Jared Polis gave a moment of silence Tuesday for the 200,000 people who have lost their lives this year nationwide due to COVID. Polis discussed how much greater the impact has been across Native American communities. He stated that Native American communities have 5 times the hospitalization rates and 40% more deaths. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment and Denver Indian Health and Family Services are working together to create a Native response team. Now, let's check out Weston and his news on the CSU research.
Thanks, Sophia. So a lot of us may be aware of what's going on. There's a lot of stuff there. We do have a positive note coming up here right now. I did get the chance to go and have this COVID-19 research happen. Coronavirus is something that we're all aware of at this point, but you know that CSU has a team here on campus working to help combat all that is going on. Rams. Right now, you know exactly what's going on. Coronavirus, every week feels like there's a new update. Every single time something happens, you feel like it's just going to get worse and worse. Well, guess what? We got good news this time around, something that might just be able to lift your spirits just a tiny bit.
Thanks to the coronavirus, life itself has seemed to change a tad bit.
Coming back to CSU, that statement has proven true. Things on campus, such as masks and testing sites, make us constantly aware of the situation around us. But what you may not be aware of is the team here at CSU working hard behind the scenes on a vaccine for coronavirus called Solovax. Recently, according to the source.Colo State, the team behind the vaccine was granted $3.1 million from the NIAID in order to help advance the research into the vaccine. The team behind the vaccine is using UV lights and riboflavin in an attempt to help inactivate the coronavirus within a person, and then therefore allow their immune systems to start working on fighting it off. The vaccine has shown to be successfully tested in preclinical testings. Regardless of your opinion of everything going on, this is a total win for the state as well as for the entire world if Colorado State University scientists can continue to work and possibly help millions upon millions of lives within this world affected by the coronavirus. Don't forget, Rams, to maintain some good social distancing and follow good, healthy measures when out in public. Make use of the campus's hand sanitizer, as well as feel free to get tested if you are concerned. Now let's toss it back over to Kenny and Sophia so they can continue on with the news.
Thank you, Weston, for those health and safety reminders. Let's turn our attention now to the Cameron Peak fires. As of yesterday, the Cameron Peak fires have been 27% contained. The fire now contains a little over 160 square miles. Voluntary evacuation orders have been lifted for the area between County Road 27 and Pencock Pass, as well as the Glen Haven and Storm Mountain areas. We will continue to update viewers as the Cameron Peak fire containment continues. Last year, CSU celebrated its 150th anniversary. In honor of the achievement, CSU alumni Ed Warner and former school president Tony Frank worked with producer Frank Boring to create a documentary about the history of 150 years at CSU.
Frank Boring was hired 3 years ago by then-President Tony Frank to document the Colorado State University's 150 years of stories. The documentary, titled The Great Experiment, CSU at 150, is about CSU's lengthy history. After all, the university has been around for a very long time. It started off as a land-grant institution back in 1870 before Colorado had even become a state. Boring was given the task of using all of the years of footage and photos to show the history of the school. That started with the task of organizing and digitizing decades worth of film. He attributes his success on the documentary to all of the help he received from coworkers and the many student workers who helped document and organize the rooms full of barely ordered videos.
Pitched the idea that if you have a tape that has only numbers on it and does not really tell us what's on it, then we have to actually have somebody look at that tape to tell us what's on it. And so I began a program of hiring students.
The documentary is said to have footage all the way back from 1919 and photos from before even then. The 80-minute long documentary covers the history of both Fort Collins and how the university fit into the changing world around it. Boring said that this documentary was necessary because it keeps the memory and the history of the school and the individuals who attended it alive.
I believe this particular documentary is unique in that it was a collaborative effort with a number of different departments and individuals and whatnot, but it actually does document 150 years of CSU's history.
If you would like to watch The Great Experiment, the film will premiere on Rocky Mountain PBS on the evening of October 1st at 8.
Speaking of CSU's history, a school tradition is postponed this year. Colorado State University has decided to not repaint the infamous Aggie A. The A was voted into creation by students back in 1923, but wasn't painted until 1924. Starting in 1985, fraternity brothers of Sigma Alpha Epsilon painted it annually. In the 2000s, CSU football players also joined in on the project. In recent years, students have partaken in this annual tradition around the first week of the fall semester. Due to coronavirus, this will be the first time in around 76 years that the A will not be repainted since the tradition started in 1944.
Traditions may have been postponed this year, but as long as there are watches, there will be lawsuits. Local watchmakers Vortic Watch Company have won a huge lawsuit involving its sale of a line of antique restored watches against Hamilton Watch Co. Vortic Watch Company has won their lawsuit, which was going on since 2015. The lawsuit was filed when Hamilton Watch Co. heard that the local watchmakers had been using parts of an antique Hamilton watch to make a line of pocket watches called the Lancaster. The watch sells for just under $5,000 each. Hamilton Watch Co. claimed that Vortic was guilty of trademark infringement for using parts of Hamilton watches and reselling their product. But the courts ruled that Vortic was not violating any trademark and ruled in Vortic's favor.
This concludes our news segment for tonight.
Stick around to see what's happening in entertainment with Angel Cooper, up next.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Hey Rams, I'm Angel Cooper, and I'm the entertainment anchor for Thursdays. We have a lot of entertainment news to talk about, so let's get started. Well, it's official. Fall's finally here, and I love when the leaves start changing colors, and I can start wearing my hoodies again. And another fall favorite of mine is going to the pumpkin patches. Bartell's Farm has a huge selection of pumpkins, hayrides, farm animals, and a corn maze. This will be a perfect spot for friends or even date night. I will definitely be going there with my bestie this weekend. Speaking of fun activities to do with your bestie, Chippers Lanes will be hosting live music events. Their goal is to support local artists and bands. Upcoming live artists that will be performing at Chippers Lanes is Ginger Well, Kessel Run, and Tent Mountain Division. But Chippers Lanes doesn't just have live music, but food, beach volleyball, a brand new arcade, laser tag, and bowling. I wish I would have known about this place sooner, so I wouldn't be spending all my weekends on the couch. I have been looking for things to do after class or after homework on Mondays, and I think I found the place. Max Line Brewing will be having beer and bingo every Monday. It is a free event, and you can play up to 7 rounds of bingo. Also, it is dog friendly too. Now, I just go there to just see the dogs. This event will last from 6:30 to 8 in the evening. Switching gears now, CSU Latinx Cultural Center, El Centro, not only has started a new program, but also has a new director, Dora Frias. Frias wants to use her own experience to create a community for El Centro.
This is Latinx Heritage Month. What does Latinx Heritage Month mean to you?
A month where we get to really ground and celebrate and honor our culture, our heritage, experience joy, really ground in the things that make us who we are as Latinx people through food, music, storytelling. And I also don't feel like we can do that outside of the month, right? We should be celebrating Latinx heritage and history all of the time.
With El Centro's Hot Chips and Hot Topics program that they started, students who identified with Latinx now tackle big conversations.
Basically talk about issues that impact the Latinx community in particular. So just yesterday we had an event where we talked about anti-Blackness in the Latinx community and just bringing people into the space where we can talk about their experiences and validating their opinions on certain topics and just being in a space where everyone feels included.
This safe place now gives students a sense of belonging.
I think it's important because it helps people feel that they are part of something, especially as identifying as a student of color, as being a Latina and a first generation student. That's really important to me, and I know that a lot of students that identify with some of my identities also feel the same way.
L Central will be hosting all the events that relate to Latinx Heritage Month and so much more. Every Thursday, I'll be filling you in on the most trending news on social media. Welcome to What's the Hype? To start off, Bad Bunny, a reggaeton artist, gave a very unique performance last Sunday to pay tribute to those working during the COVID-19 pandemic. He performed while standing on a moving flatbed truck stopping New York City traffic in the 2-mile stretch from the Yankee Stadium to the New Harlem Hospital. Here, he paid his respect to the frontline workers who devoted their time to helping those with COVID. In Spanish, Bad Bunny says, "Respect and thanks to those people who have sacrificed their lives, giving it all for the health of this city." At the 72 Annual Emmy Awards on Sunday, 24-year-old actress Zendaya took home the prize for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series for her performance in Euphoria. I've always been a fan of Zendaya since she was on Disney, so I was fangirling a lot when I heard that she won, going up against huge actresses like Jennifer Aniston. Zendaya was shocked to hear that she was bringing home the award.
Oh, I'm really nervous. Okay. Oh gosh. I just want to say thank you to the TV Academy, to all the other incredible women in this category. I admire you all so much. This is this is pretty crazy. I don't really cry. Whoa.
Don't worry, Zendaya. I think I did all the crying for you. Tuesday was National Voter Registration Day, and Michelle Obama went live on Instagram to share information on how to register to make a plan to vote. The former First Lady is doing everything she can to inspire people to vote. Michelle Obama was joined live by other celebrities who wanted to send out the same message, including Jennifer Lopez, Zendaya, Aisha Curry, Chris Paul, and many others.
Alienated by this system, who are frustrated.
Well, Rams, that's all I got for you this week. Stay tuned after the break to hear Yanae Moran talk about warm temperatures in the fall.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Yanae Moran, here with the weather for Thursday nights. Let's go into the future, shall we? Right now, we are at 79 degrees, and then winds at 5 miles per hour headed northwest. And then the sun setting early today at 6:52, which now it is officially fall season. On Tuesday was our very first day. So let's take a look at what it was like on campus today. Today on campus, as you can see, it is officially fall. So we are starting to see the leaves falling. So we gotta get used to the sound of the crunch. Now for our overnight lows. Along our I-25 corridor here in Fort Collins, the lowest will be at 54 degrees, Denver at 62, and then Colorado Springs and Pueblo at 57. Along our mountainside here in Vail at 47, and then Grand Junction, our highest, at 57 degrees. And then on our eastern side here, Sterling at 49, and then Lamar at 50 degrees. Now for tomorrow's highs, we will be very warm temperatures. Along our I-25 corridor, we will be at 89 degrees. In Fort Collins, Denver at 91, Colorado Springs and Pueblo at 96, and then, wow, Lamar breaking the record at almost 100 degrees. That is insane for September. Grand Junction again over at 83 degrees. Now for tomorrow's forecast, it looks like we will be at 89 degrees high with a low temperature of 54. Partly cloudy, and then winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour headed southwest, and then the sun setting again early at 6:51. Now for our 5-day forecast. Friday again at 89 degrees with a low of 54. Saturday going back up to 87 and a low of 52. And then Sunday, of course, back down to 72, which is lower temperatures than Monday because obviously we have to work on Monday. And then lower temperatures on Monday again at 48. Tuesday back down to 72 and then a low of 43. That is all we have for the weather today. But don't go away just yet. We have a lot to talk about in sports and the Miami Heat with Brendan Fairbairn right after the break.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Welcome back from the break, Rams, into your Thursday night sports show, The Blitz. Hosted by yours truly, Brendan Fairbairn. I have plenty of pro action to cover for you all tonight, so let's get it started. Kicking it off with some contender or pretender action, I have 2 contenders who I feel are primed to finish the season as champions. Let's start off with the Miami Heat. The Heat are 11-2 in the playoffs right now and lead the Celtics 3-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. The burning question for NBA fans is, can the Heat get past the Celtics and, most importantly, contend for the NBA championship against the opposition from the West? First thing about the Heat, very misleading stats. They are 5th in the league in scoring, 9th in rebounds, and 9th in field goal percentage. How they make that work is they play well together as a unit and play unselfish basketball. They're led by their superstar leader, Jimmy Butler, who averages 20.6 points per game, and Bam Adebayo, who leads the defense, who had that game-winning block against the Celtics, who really set the tone for the series. Tyler Hero is the real deal with his 37-point performance last night, and Heat are 3rd in the league in assists. So how the Heat are going to finish the Celtics? Well, it's been a very even series so far. Either team could be up 3-1 at this point. Celtics have 170 points in the paint, while the Heat have 166. Celtics have 174 rebounds, while the Heat have 161. And their shooting stats are also very, very similar. They need to be more aggressive in the paint with their points and rebounds. The outside shooting has been very good, led by Jay Crowder, who is 3rd in the league in three-pointers made with 40. They need to stop playing from behind, though. Game 1, down 14. Game 2, down 17. Game 3, down 20. That's not championship basketball. That's not going to work in the finals. The Heat have had a great run so far, sweeping the Pacers and almost sweeping the number 1 seeded Bucks. It looks like the Celtics will be the Heat's next victim. This is the 12th time Miami has taken a 3-1 lead in a best-of-7 series. The Heat won each of the previous 11. I say history is going to repeat itself. Heat are going to the finals. They are contenders in my books. But now, switch it from the court to the ice. The Dallas Stars have been making noise throughout the NHL playoffs with their recent dismantling of the first-seeded Las Vegas Golden Knights in the Western Conference Finals, 4-1. The victory marked the Stars' 5th Stanley Cup Finals appearance in franchise history and their first in 20 years. While being down 2-1 to the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Stars are no strangers to playing from behind. Dallas this postseason is 4-0 in overtime games, but the real question is, can they finish their underdog story and earn their long-awaited second ring, or has their luck ran out? First thing I got to say about these Stars, they've been through so much adversity. Started 1-7 to begin the season, fired head coach Jim Montgomery in December. Former assistant and now interim head coach Rick Bowness stepped in well, turning around the Stars season and catapulting them into the postseason. Young players stepped up like right wing Denis Gurinov, who leads rookies in the playoffs with 17 points. While they've continued to pile up the victories, it hasn't been pretty in the slightest. They are the first team since 1968 to enter the Stanley Cup Finals with a negative goal differential with 62-64. Only fifth in the playoffs with goals per game. They're averaging around 3 goals per game. But how are they going to make it work, and how are they going to finish the Lightning? Well, they need to stop leading scorers right wing Nikita Kucherov, who has 28 points, and center Braden Point with 26 points. For the Lightning, despite being NHL's 20th best goalie save percentage, Anton Khudobin has a save percentage of 94%. He is the X factor in this series. He's going to be the reason the Dallas Stars win this. Dallas team's chemistry and resilience to respond to early challenges and finish games out on top after being down in the first 2 periods are their biggest elements behind their unexpected Stanley Cup Finals run this year. Starting off play as one of the NHL's bottom feeders, the Stars now have the opportunity to complete the drastic turnaround and end up with the Lord Stanley Cup. I have them as contenders. Stars are going to beat the Lightning in Game 7. Mark my words. In my opinion, the Stars have very high odds to close out the season, but let's get into some more money line around the world of sports with this week's version of What Are the Odds? To start things off, let's go to the gridiron with the Titans versus Vikings matchup on Sunday. I have the Titans at -136, very good odds. Vikings defense only had 2 sacks and 1 turnover and allowed 67 points in 2 weeks. Absolutely terrible. Ryan Tannehill leaving off where he did last year. He's been on fire. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. It's also good to know the Vikings defense also giving up 150 yards on the ground. Derrick Henry is going to run wild on him. Titans are going to win this. Now going to over/under. Chiefs versus Ravens. I have the over at 53.5. Obviously 2 explosive offenses. Ravens already have 75 points on the season. It's only been 2 games. Chiefs have 57 points. I really expect a shootout in this one. Tight ends should really be an X factor in this one, solely due to Hollywood Brown and Tyreek Hill on the outside. Middle of the field should be wide open for both of them. I have the over hitting very comfortably. Now moving on to spread, I have +6 for the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets have been playing the Nuggets are actually way more conditioned than the Lakers. You could tell how tired the Lakers played in Game 3. AD playing a lot less aggressive, which is not like himself. 2 rebounds last game. And also, Jokic isn't getting bullied anymore as much as he was against JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. I have the Nuggets winning this one, so the spread should hit comfortably. And if not, they should keep it within 6. Now moving on to my CSU money line. CSU is supposed to play Vanderbilt in Week 3. Obviously, that's not going to happen due to coronavirus, but I like to make my own odds. I have CSU at +375. Good odds because of the conference differential. You have an SEC team versus a Mountain West team. SEC teams are going to be favored majority of the time. Vanderbilt, 3-7, worst team in the SEC. The 2-7 UNLV Rebels beat them last year, 34-10. Last year at home too. CSU beat UNLV by 20 points last year. Money line should hit comfortably. Over and under, I had the over at 62.5. I know that's a high over, but Vanderbilt averaged 16 points per game, and opponents averaged 32 points against them. Rams averaged 28 points per game, and opponents also averaged 32 points against them. Vanderbilt, obviously in the harder conference, SEC. They have played teams like Florida, Georgia, and LSU, one of the best teams in the nation. Vandy can easily average more than 16 against the Rams defense. I have 31-34 Rams winning it with the over hitting. Now moving on to spread, I have CSU at +14. Vanderbilt's been outscored by opponents by 183 points. Last year, also averaged 247 yards against them through the air. Patrick O'Brien and Jackson would absolutely torch their defense if this game was to be played. Jackson had his best season with Patrick O'Brien at quarterback. It's also good to note that Vanderbilt's defense only had 6 interceptions last year. Patrick O'Brien could easily sling the ball down the field with more assurance and confidence, knowing how weak their secondary is. I have CSU winning this, so the spread, if not, they should keep it well between 14. Well, Ram fans, those are all the sports. Tune in. That's all the sports action I have for tonight. Tune in next week for my analysis of the NBA Finals. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday for CTV Sports.